Hello, beautiful souls. So this one, I want to talk about God's blessing. We fall into subtle traps for taking for granted the order and the beauty of the world that we live in. We ignore God's daily blessing of the weather, of the seasons, and life are evidence of His goodness. Storms, earthquakes, and natural disasters, all acts of God. We complain about it, when we should actually, it reminds us of God's amazing constancy in spite of the fallen and of the dysfunctional world that we live in. David was moved by God to write a hymn of praise that celebrate God's goodness and love through the created order. In Psalms 145, you'll notice as I read it to you how God lavishes His goodness on not just believers, but on unbelievers and on all His creatures. They will celebrate your abundant goodness and joyfully sing of your righteousness. The Lord is gracious and compassionate, slow to anger, and rich in love. The Lord is good to all. He has compassion on all He has made. So when He says all, He means all. His compassion is deep feelings of concerns, translates into the action to keep comfort in us in our darkest moments. You know, we read in the Psalms, the eyes of all look to you, and they give them food in proper time. You open your hands to satisfy the desire of every living thing. The Lord is righteous in all His ways and loving towards all He has made. God is a faithful provider, and sometimes we forget that. We forget all that He has made. In His personal expression, my mouth will speak the praise of the Lord. Let every creature praise His holy name forever and ever. So it reminds us while we thank God through the good times, it also reminds us that we need to thank Him for the bad times too, for the lessons learned, because everything good and perfect is a gift from Him, even the little ones. God has given us more than we need to simply survive in this world. He has given us pleasure, meaning, beauty in every relationship, every job, every tree, every flower. Every moment is a sign of His compassion for us. Every corner of your world and every part of your day should remind you of His goodness. And if you will only begin to look for it, express your love through the goodness of His deliverance. The scripture is filled with numerous examples of God delivering His people, yet we fail to see this time and time again. Oh, give thanks to the Lord. It begins, for He is good. Praise Jesus. You know, it represents His celebration that's repeated all through Psalms. It's a theme. He constantly celebrates us as we should celebrate Him. God redeems the helpless from their enemies because He's good. God rescues us from the shadows of death because He's good. God heals our disease because He's good. God protects us from the storms that threaten to sink our lives because He's good. So just a reminder today on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday that He provides deliverance in countless times in history and in our lives. When we choose to step into power with Him, He always saves the day. His plans may not always work out in the ways that we prefer, but isn't it amazing how often we focus on the relatively few difficult circumstances of our lives that we tend to forget the repeated ones, His loving acts of deliverance that occur so regularly. Sending you so much love and light. Mwah.